In roughly 36 hours, Yuki Tsunoda will head out on track as a Red Bull driver for the very first time. But just a year ago, after an incredible incident with Daniel Ricciardo, his promotion looked pretty much impossible. Tsunoda gained a reputation as a fast but explosive driver who could occasionally produce brilliance but was often held back by his own frustrations. Normally directed at another driver that Yuki thought had slighted him in some way, his team radio became the stuff of legend. And if you want to procrastinate from work for a few hours like I did this afternoon, then I highly recommend watching a few compilations to pass the time. But over the past year, you might have noticed that Yuki has changed, and those changes have led him to a Red Bull seat. Today, I'll check out that one moment that Tsunoda says changed his F1 career, how it got him where he is now, and what the one goal is that Red Bull have given him. So, don't go anywhere. This is a monumentous weekend for Red Bull. Since 2019, the team have worked with Honda as an engine supplier, and the two together have won 4 drivers' titles and 2 constructors' titles. Not bad for a 6-season relationship, and they might still add to that in their 7th year together. This 7th year, though, is going to be the last. From next season, Red Bull will run with their own powertrain with the help of Ford, while Honda will supply their engines to Aston Martin. This will be Honda and Red Bull's last race together in Japan, where Honda is based, and to celebrate it, Red Bull are running an absolutely incredible special livery. The white, black and red livery is quite simply stunning. There is no other way I can think to describe it. Just absolutely stunning. But this weekend isn't just about that relationship coming to an end. It's also about new beginnings. While Honda may be leaving Red Bull, Yuki Tsunoda will be joining them. To have a Honda-powered Red Bull with a Japanese driver in it for the Japanese Grand Prix is a massive deal. And Tsunoda is going to have a very, very busy week of media engagements before he even begins driving. But on Friday, before the sun comes up in the UK, Tsunoda will be on track in the RB21. At the start of last season though, or even this season, that seemed completely impossible. Late on in the race, at last year's season opener in Bahrain, the Racing Bulls asked Yuki Tsunoda to swap positions with Daniel Ricciardo, who was on better tyres, in an attempt to gain some positions and potentially points. It didn't work out, and Ricciardo failed to make any forward progress after the position swap. In what was at the time classic Tsunoda fashion, after the race had finished, he vented his frustration loudly over the team radio. As the cars all cooled down on their way back to the pits, Tsunoda dive-bombed his teammate before swerving erratically and dangerously towards Daniel Ricciardo's car. Tsunoda locked up during that dive bomb and nearly caused a collision before accelerating away from Ricciardo. "Yes, thanks guys," Tsunoda said sarcastically over team radio. "I appreciate it." Ricciardo responded in disbelief, "What the F is wrong? I'll save it, effing helmet." The two finished in 13th and 14th place. So at the end of the day, Yuki, who had hard tyres on, lost nothing by being swapped with his teammate who, with his soft tyres, was in a far better position to try and make some forward progress. Of course, F1 convention would say the two should have swapped back before the end of the race, but nonetheless, it was a massive overreaction from Yuki, even by his standards. Sure, he was frustrated, maybe even angry, or you'd certainly assume so from his team radio, but he wasn't helping himself or his team by driving dangerously after the race had finished. All it did was confirm to Red Bull, and every other team on the grid as well actually, that despite all of his talent, after 3 full seasons on the grid, Yuki didn't have what it took to drive for a top team. That explosiveness, that tendency to lose his cool over the smallest of things, that isn't a trait that you see in the best F1 drivers. However, Yuki never saw it as a problem. As he said to The Independent, "I never felt like controlling my emotions was the key to my success. It was just my natural character. I had to change my approach for the future after what happened with Daniel in Bahrain last year. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sticking around in F1. It's the one area I've worked really hard at, and it's helped change my mindset and be more serious." At the start of this season, Yuki was entering the last year of his contract with Red Bull, and they weren't at all interested in extending it. There had been rumours that he'd spoken to Haas during the off-season, but for 2026, it didn't really look like there were going to be any options for him. But here we are, less than a month after the season has started, and Red Bull are showering praise on the changed Tsunoda, and he has the promotion he always wanted. That work on his mindset following the Ricciardo incident has clearly worked. He's lost that unstable edge, which made him a fan favourite but a nightmare for his team. Instead, he's calmed down into what some may say is a smooth operator, capable of fantastic performances. However, his move to Red Bull isn't going to be easy. The car is horrible to drive, but the team wants to challenge for both titles. Tsunoda has 0 mileage in the RB21, but he's going to be expected to be competitive from the outset. Red Bull have made it clear exactly what they want from Tsunoda this weekend. Before I cover what Christian Horner has said are the goals for Yuki at Red Bull, if you're enjoying the video and want to catch all the news and analysis from the Japanese Grand Prix, then make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. So Red Bull team principal Christian Horner has set Yuki Tsunoda one simple target: get as close to Max Verstappen as possible. If only it were that simple, eh? Now, Horner has been clear that the team's aim for this season is to regain the team championship from McLaren and to retain the Drivers' Championship, obviously for Max Verstappen. With Red Bull third in the Constructors' Championship after 2 races, Tsunoda says Horner has tasked him with finishing as close as possible to Dutchman Verstappen to aid the team's cause. In the end, Red Bull Racing are focused on Max scoring a Drivers' Championship, Tsunoda told the BBC. He's proven himself to have good potential to be a world champion, even though Red Bull seems to be struggling a little now. Performance-wise, he, talking about Horner, wants me to be as close to Max as possible. In some races, I can help with the strategy, but he has also promised me in some situations that if I'm able to be in front of Max, that he wouldn't necessarily ask me to swap positions and make Max win. Yuki will know what he's stepping into, and it sounds like Red Bull have been pretty honest with him as well. He is going to have to assist Verstappen, and if it ever comes to it, that is going to mean moving out the way for his teammate, which is going to really test Yuki's new mindset. However, all of this assumes that Yuki is going to be able to get far more out of that car than Liam Lawson did, which is something that remains to be seen. Looking ahead to his home Grand Prix on Sunday, Tsunoda said he'll be satisfied if he can finish in the top 10. Obviously, I want to say points or a podium or whatever, said Tsunoda. But at the same time, realistically, you think about jumping into the new car straight away with limited sessions, that's pretty tough. I think what I can say for now is if I score points, top 10, I'll be happy. After watching Lawson struggle to drag the RB21 out of Q1 for the first 2 races of the season, I think it's fair to say that if Tsunoda can get a points finish, it would be an incredible result. It isn't going to be easy, but hopefully with his changed mindset and the backing of Red Bull, who have said he's safe in that seat until the end of the season, he'll be in an environment that is set up to support him and help him succeed. This weekend's Grand Prix is going to be absolutely fascinating to watch, and the results of Lawson and Tsunoda are guaranteed to take all the headlines. Do you think Yuki is going to be able to get anything extra out of the RB21 than what Lawson was? And if Red Bull do use team orders, is Yuki going to be able to keep his cool? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you want to support the channel, then make sure to check out our merch store at f1reverse.com for some sweet F1 inspired gear. Until next time, drive safe and bye for now.